is an Unspoiled Network podcast.
This is Unspoiled, covering Penny Dreadful, Season 3, Episode 5, This World is Our Hell. In this episode, Ethan, don't do it. Don't do it, Ethan. None of us want to watch this. Welcome to Unspoiled. Welcome to the show, everyone. I am Natasha.
And I'm Dan.
And I'm Maggie.
And this episode bummed me the fuck out.
Yeah, I don't like this one.
Yeah. No, I'm angry. I'm angry at the show now. Mm-hmm. And I hope I'm not, because to remind the readers, I'm also unspoiled now too. And I'm fucking pissed.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so, first of all, mainly, I'm mad because they didn't make the little Chiquita here who convinces Ethan to go dark into an interesting character. So
no, she's still harping the same shit.
Yeah.
She's still just boring.
Boring.
So bored of her.
So, if they had made this a more compelling relationship, if there seemed to be more between the two of them than just I really want to be your evil queen, then maybe I would be like, well, this is interesting anyway to watch. I'm curious what's going to happen. But mostly, I'm just I don't see her arguments as compelling. I don't really understand what it was that made Ethan suddenly switch over. It just feels really sudden, and I don't know.
I don't think it's that sudden. I think he's being tempted, very much so. And you know how fucking swayable Ethan is. Goddamn, this is the thing. When he was around Vanessa, he kind of had his head on straight, even though he kind of wanted to bone her, but he had some morals. And now we have this bitch. And I hate to be that way because I think she is a poorly written character, and I think it's the show, not really her.
Yeah.
But the character is basically you want to come to the dark side because God doesn't care about you, and basically repeating over and over again, God doesn't give a shit about you, Ethan. Mm-hmm. And honestly, they're in a very fucking tense situation. He's dehydrated. I think he's being so easily swayed because of this. And I think he's really sad because he has to deal with, I think fucking seeing Cayetane is kind of throwing him in for a fucking loop. Mm-hmm. And he wants to deal with his father. And I think he wanted to deal with his father not in the way she's suggesting initially. And then suddenly it's oh no, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
But notice, so it's kind of skipping ahead. I think that there's still redemption for Ethan because he didn't do a thing that she said for him to say.
Well, he didn't do anything to his father yet.
No.
He's not supposed to do that and say it until he's killed him, basically.
Oh, okay. I thought she wanted him to say it while they were fucking, which ironically was doggy style, and therefore is a wolf
my
hunt.
God, I didn't think about that.
I did. I do that kind of thinking for you on this podcast.
All right. So the start of this episode, they are traveling together, and he reaches this spot where he's like, "Oh shit, there used to be a river here. My bad." And she asks if there's another source of water, and he's like, "Nope, not for days." So they're in a bad way over here, and meanwhile, it's everybody. They're being followed by two crews now, one 2-person crew. And it's pretty much just a matter of time once you reach this point in the episode that they're gonna get caught up with, because the people who are following them, at least one has to assume that Kaetenay knows the terrain and is familiar with the fact that there won't be water. And,
yeah.
I don't remember the name of the marshal, the U.S. marshal, but
I
I would
just call him
imagine he
Marshal.
knows too. Yeah, I guess we just call him Marshall's an actual name.
I've been calling him Marshall. Yes. I've been calling him Marshall, and I've been calling, British dude bowler hat. So I've been kind of like in my notes is bowler hat Marshall caught up, to them, blah blah blah.
Marshall is Owen's middle name.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He hates it.
It is.
I know. Yeah.
Oh, Owen.
Yeah. He got real bad draw on names.
He did. He kind of did.
Why? It's so cute. Owen Marshall.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
not too bad. I won't say his actual
No.
real last name on the air because he doesn't want me to do that. But trust me when I say it's the kind of name that you would snicker at.
Okay.
All together as a combo, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Lot to saddle a tiny baby with.
Well, my middle
Just
name
saying.
is Waters.
Waters is a cool middle name. John Waters is a badass.
Well, yeah.
And it means you're a bastard in the Riverlands.
Oh yeah,
So,
that's true.
There
Yeah,
you go.
see?
Okay. I'm a bastard. I also, in my notes, I put Kaetenay and Malcolm as the true dads.
Yeah.
And I
his
put
dads.
true dads as TRU. True dads.
TM.
So yeah, it's Marshall and bowler hat, and then it's true dads, and then I put this bitch and Ethan.
This bitch.
That is all she deserves.
I agree. So we go from there back to London to these two petty ass motherfuckers with their fucking pill bottle electrode injector fucking. They're basically it's like they're using people as easy bake
Yeah.
ovens.
Yeah.
They're just
Well, here's what I gotta say at this point in the episode is we are halfway through the season at least.
Mhm.
Yeah, we got like
And-
4 more episodes.
And
Yeah.
we still have all of our characters in almost now. We've finally gotten a couple of them to meet up, but in completely different plot lines.
Mhm.
And it's starting to drive me nuts because I don't give a shit about Victor when he's not interacting with Vanessa and Malcolm on a regular basis is completely unbearable.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's an
He, like,
asshole.
all the times that we've liked him, it's always when he's in those settings and he's being intelligent and
Mhm.
kind of not putting up with people's bullshit in certain situations and, accepting affection from Vanessa or anything that makes Victor tolerable in this series does not happen when he's off in a lab with his angry ass grad school friend.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Just
Who-
being dickheads together.
I have 2 comments to make about the Victor and Jekyll conversations.
Mhm.
One was, I want to say fuck you, Victor, because it really I think honestly the guy was talking about, Jekyll was saying about how he got kicked out of the school that they were in because he assaulted a faculty member, and he specifically says you don't even know what he said to me, and I think it was probably a racist fucking thing, and he
Mhm.
reacted angrily, and so fucking Victor's like, oh, you guys should check their temper. Like
Mhm.
kind of gaslighting him about like him being legitimately upset.
He says
probably
something like,
fucking
"Oh, and
shit.
nobody's going to take you seriously," which I mean, is that not like what we hear every day about
Yeah.
various movements for civil rights? People are just like, "Well, if you don't do such and such, or if you don't get choosy about what you're going to get mad about, then nobody's going to take it seriously." Outrage
Exactly.
fatigue. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, guys.
And so I don't know if the show wants to make it look like Jekyll's anger is reasonable and everyone's making him out to look like a bad guy, or that he is just a fucking like, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, where he's like unreasonably angry sometimes or whatever.
Mhm.
And the show's not doing a really good job of that, because like I could kind of appreciate the whole idea of like, honestly, he's not a Mr. Hyde at all. It's just if you hear an Indian slur at you like every effing day, and then the one day you snap.
Mhm.
Like they don't show that nuance. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I don't know which way they're playing it, and that pisses me off. And then the second thing was Victor. We know that like Lily already told you that that shit wasn't real, and he's still thinking like when I made her, when she was like that before. And
I
and it's pissing me
know.
off.
Like, dude, he's like, she was
It's
perfect. It was perfect. I'm like, yeah, it was because she knew what you wanted to hear and she was acting. It was
the
perfect
whole
because
thing-
it was invented.
And it was so offensive. Like, when I made her, fuck you, dude. Like,
Right?
seriously, fuck you, dude. Victor,
Yeah.
I
This
still
stop
think
making me regret ever sometimes liking you.
I know. I still think Jekyll wants to fuck him though. Like low key, that's still
I
on the
definitely
table,
think
kind of?
that's
That might
an
be
aspect
going
of
on.
their relationship. I definitely think so.
yeah. They give handies to each other in their dorm room or
Like,
something.
right? Like, I could see that being part of why he never lost his virginity either, because he just wasn't even sure about his sexuality.
Maybe.
You know, like just kind of in general, like, I don't
Do
know.
you think-
I just feel like Victor's just such a fucking mess, man. All he does
Yes.
is think about other people in terms of in this like analytical way, but he never like has any self analysis.
No. Of course not. It's always people reacting towards him, never what he does fucking affects other people. Like
And as
I-
far as like the whole thing with you know, what will probably turn into the Mr. Hyde aspect later, this is something that I find interesting because the series that I am attempting to write, I have a character who has dealt with a lot of discrimination and so is struggling with some serious anger issues. And they come into some power that they aren't even quite aware they have, and they light a person on fire. And,
shit.
you know, shit happens when you're super angry and have to deal with stuff all the time over and over again. And so sometimes you might snap, and it might not be quite warranted. But having this, and I'm, again, guessing because we don't know where this is going, they haven't developed enough of Jekyll for me to
Yeah.
really be invested in what happens to him. And I feel like if they wanted me to care more, they could have just let Victor out of it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because this whole thing is just making it feels like they're giving Victor this like motivation here in just to get Jekyll into the plot line. And
Yeah.
I kind of would like it if, you know, I understand that you have to do that, like they want to draw connections, but draw the connection and then refocus on to Jekyll and let Victor just be acting like a dickhead in the background, because frankly,
Yeah, let
that's
Jekyll
about as much
actually
as
be
I
a
can
character.
take. Yeah, exactly.
Do you think I'm off on the racial subtext? Because I don't know. Like
Oh,
I
no, I
feel
think
like
you're totally right.
all right. Because I think he probably got like the teacher probably said something really fucked up.
Oh yeah,
like-
definitely.
He's even said that, like, that he got
Yeah.
tormented like that all the time, and Victor's just sort of like, oh, blah, 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 blah. Like it's not even a thing. Like
Mhm.
he doesn't know what that's like. He doesn't really care.
Yeah, Victor's attitude seems to basically be, "Oh, you're just such a whiny crybaby. Oh, people are
all
mean
the
to
people
you."
to be like,
Like-
you're being a whiny crybaby. God damn it, Victor.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Like,
Do-
who are
do
you?
you think? Do you think? Okay, so if we're going with the idea that they probably did stuff, you know, or whatever, do you think that's why Victor's so obsessed with creating the perfect woman or whatever? Because he's fucking feels shitty about his sexuality or some shit.
I don't know. He started with men, and
Yeah.
he, I don't know. There was
Which again,
definitely,
pretty gay.
um,
P gay.
yeah. Well,
Just
I
saying.
mean, Proteus. There was definitely a lot of kind of homoerotic energy with Proteus in those first couple episodes.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know,
And
craving
so-
and reading to him.
And when Caliban killed him, he was upset on a very emotional level. So you know that's floating around out there, which you know, bisexuality is a thing. He can like both of them, but I'm just saying, like,
In this repressed
there's-
Victorian society, I mean,
yeah,
like,
he might just be like,
probably-
oh, but yeah, well, now that somebody else told me I needed to make a woman, and I made a woman, I made a perfect woman, and now I really want that.
And now I
perfect-
don't have her anymore. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, that could be it. actually, that could just be what it is not just that he was struggling with his sexuality overall, but just that he is so fucking like weirdly detached that he would rather have a pet than actually deal with a relationship.
Yeah, he would. Yeah.
Oh God, that just like reminded me of 1,000 men I've met in my life. Holy shit.
Do you want to wrap up like what Jekyll and Hyde actually end up doing?
Yeah,
so that way
probably
we
a good
can
idea.
focus on the clusterfuck of Ethan.
So fucking Victor is over here like, hey, I'm just gonna inject this electrified serum in your eyeball, no big deal. And says some shit. Okay, I just couldn't with this fucking. You won't remember anything, and it is our memories that make us monsters, is it not? No, it is not. Actually, our memories are not what make us monsters. I don't even know what you mean by that. It's what we do. Our memories are nothing. What? I don't even understand what he meant.
How he got super close to him too. I think he like kind of low key enjoys doing this shit. There's
definitely a little bit of a like sadistic gleam in his eye when he's doing this. Yeah. So he injects this dude, and then him and Jekyll are sitting there like, oh, hey, guess he's not gonna wake up, maybe. He's trying to pat himself on the back that he hasn't regressed, and Jekyll's like, yeah, he's unconscious still. But
and Jekyll's still saying, like, I mean, Victor's like happy still, like, oh, this is a success.
Yeah, he's like, better unconscious is kind of what he's saying than to be awake the way that he was. Which is uber fucked up, dude. Yeah. And finally, dude does come awake. Does not remember shit. Doesn't know why he's there. Doesn't know who they are. I assume doesn't know who he is. And that's pretty much all we see is, like, there's not, like, a long-term, like, you know, coming back to him after he's woken up. So I don't know how long this is going to actually last.
Yeah. Wait, doesn't he say... Oh, no. It was Jekyll and Hyde that called him Mr. Belfour. Because I was going to say, I thought they asked him his name, and I think that was when they first introduced this dude. He said his name, I guess. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, he probably doesn't. We don't even know.
So, yeah, that's basically all of that for them, is that Jekyll has succeeded in doing something new, and we shall see how that works out. I'm going to guess not great. So back in the desert, we have the group with the marshal and what's his face, and they are sitting across like the valley from Ethan and Bitchface. And they are the two, you know, important men are sitting up on the cliff's edge. And so once this like attack happens, they are not even part of it. They don't get bitten, which is quite convenient, but it's fine. I'm really not that mad about it. And we find out how he lost his arm. And he basically, his story boils down to, I was incredibly badass. I lost it doing it a very heroic thing. Then being further badass, cauterized it, brought in the guy that we were chasing, and then went to the infirmary once I got my job done first, bitch. Which, frankly, is just as impressive as he's trying to act like it is. There are times when somebody's trying to pose and act like they did some really badass, and you're like, well, who knows about like the whole story though? Even if there is some other shit that happened, this one-armed man drug in his quarry after all, after having cauterized it himself. Yeah, you get some credit for that, man. That's cold.
Fair.
And as they're talking about this across the way, Ethan and Bitchface are watching them, and she's kind of cranky about the fact that they can have a fire, but the two of them can't. And there's this moment with a horse.
Yeah, that seems gratuitous, but for plot purposes, I suppose.
I think the writers were like, we need to make her likable in some way.
Mm-hmm.
I know, she'll be nice to the horse. Which, I mean, might have worked better if you didn't leave both horses for dead in the same episode. Because, that's just a bummer. And she's just like, yeah, I love animals. It's humans I hate. And I'm like, oh, brother, welcome to Facebook. And finally, she's like, well, maybe we can do some magic on these motherfuckers. And this is where shit gets interesting. Because, frankly, the two of them sitting and talking, I just don't even realize that they've lost my attention. That's how much my attention strays. That it doesn't even like enter my head, oh, I'm bored. It's just I have so completely gone off track that I finally realize I'm doing something else when there's a noise on the screen that makes me look up again, and then I realize, oh shit, I totally missed half of what happened and I have to rewind. Because she's trying to talk about how her mother enlisted her as a baby. She watched as Lucifer raked his claws across my body. And she says it in this way because she was 5 years old when it happens. And she says it in this way like she's got so much resentment over it. But I just
She's
wish...
still serving Lucifer.
Yeah,
your
right?
mom's dead, bitch. Like, find something else to do with your life.
She's dead.
I just don't understand why... Because he says... I thought that's what he was getting at, because he says, well, my father enlisted me in the army, and I could have, disobeyed. I didn't have to go. And I thought that's what he was going to say to her, like, so you could have deserted at some point. But instead, it turns into a story about him, which, don't get me wrong, I want to know this backstory, because there's obviously a ton of shit that he hasn't dealt with that we don't know about. So... I am here for this story, but it felt like the script totally was going this one way. And I was like, yeah, call her out on this. And then they didn't at all. So I was kind of disappointed in that. Because I feel like everybody's just accepting this woman as just like, yeah, well, you worship the devil. Like nobody's really asking. But her only thing, like everything she says is just the kind of like, jaded, well, God's just not fair. Well, fucking no shit. Like, and the devil is fair? Like, what exactly are you...
Yeah.
I don't get the track. I don't understand her motivations here at all.
Ethan reveals, like, what he did that was so bad, right? And,
he doesn't completely. Because he ends it just with, like, he told me that we would just steal the stuff. And he says it in this way that you're like, well, clearly that's not how it went. But he just stops there.
Well, I think that's what he intended, and he just didn't realize.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely what he intended. But I just mean, like, in this scene, we don't actually find out the truth about what he did. Like, the actual consequences of it.
Oh, well, I mean, just about how he ended up being with Kai and Tanae. I mean, So, like, he fucking... So Ethan used to kill a bunch of Apache Indians, I guess, and he got really mad one day and did it. And there was Kai and Tanae, and like Kai and Tanae was like, "Well, guess what, motherfucker? Instead of killing you, I'm just gonna have you be my son." And so he adopts him. So
well, he doesn't like he kills the senator's son, who's his commanding officer. After the guy bashes a kid's face in with a rock, an Apache kid, and throws him in the river to poison the water after saying he wasn't even worth the bullet. So hence me bashing his head in instead. And so he, loses his fucking mind and goes and presents himself to be scalped as like penance for being a part of this, which is kind of fantastic. Right. And I'm like on board with this firmly, and then you find out later the rest of it, and you're just like, oh, Ethan, God. I like the idea because, you know, like Dan said, we have Kaetenay being like, well, I thought it would be crueler to let him live, which he was right. He was so much more right than he thought he was going to be, because he wound up... Do you all think Kaetenay let them murder Ethan's family as punishment?
Oh yeah, because even Kaetenay said he was, you know, they grew cruel, and I think Kaetenay, I think he's upset that I think he regrets what he did, but I think he was just like, well, that's the shit we did. So
I just mean, like, because they grew cruel could be like, well, we basically became cruel, terrible people in general, and any family we came across, we would have done this too. But do you think there was an element of, oh, these are your family, I remember what you fucking did, and maybe going a little extra because of that?
It's possible. I know that, like, in adoption law, like, he would have no, you know, reason to, because, like, he already has the thing that he replenished with, which was Ethan, because his son was lost in that whole thing, and so what he needed to get back was another son, so he had that. But I think, in a way, I think if there was an unedited version, I think West Studi would have totally had Kaetenay say, like, you know, we became like white people, basically. Right. So, like, you know, the rules of war became like, you know, yeah, we could fucking fuck with Ethan's family. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he was very cruel, because so later, I don't know, I don't want to get into too much. Yeah, let's not jump ahead with that. Yeah, no, because the fuckitude that happened, that's some deep shit. Yeah. That he does, especially from an indigenous perspective, it's like shit. Like, yeah, like the level of what they became was definitely more monstrous, and I think it was just like even Kaetenay said, like, he came there just to die anyway. Mm-hmm. He went back to this land to die, but then he was told that he had to go get Ethan.
Yeah, so. I find it really interesting because, you know, there's the whole, like, the historically inaccurate cowboys and Indians Hollywood type storyline where it's the good white people defending against the terrorizing natives. Mm. And we have sort of gone, like, in such a other direction with the way that we tell the stories that is... And don't get me wrong, white people are the worst, and they did everything that they are portrayed as doing, so that's totally valid. But it was interesting to me that they were like, oh yeah, white people did an awful thing, and look what it made. Yeah. Like, it is still colonialism as the root of the problem. But it wasn't just, you know, well, they're a warrior people. They aren't trying to fall back on this fucking, like, traditional, this is just what this tribe is like bullshit. They are definitely products of this horrific series of traumas, not just one.
And Kaetenay makes a good point, because he says, you know, there are 39 of us free Apache, and specifically, from what I could gather from his family, is a Chiricahua Apache. So there was 39 of them left, and they sent like 5,000 to go after them, and every 10 soldiers they would kill, you know, hundreds of more would come up, and it's very indicative of, like, I'm sorry, there's a creaking door. It may be haunted. I'm not sure. I'm too scared to look at this point. But, like,
yo, I can hear that shit. That's freaking me out.
Yeah, I know.
Now.
It's freaking me out, and I'm kind of scared. If I die, it was a ghost, and please rest my soul, please.
I like, if you died and the cops came and wanted to talk to me, I'd be like, he said it was a ghost.
It was a ghost.
That's like,
it was a ghost.
Case closed, guys.
This is reporting. It says there was a ghost.
Yeah. Eyewitness report, ghost.
And you guys heard it. So this is
I did evidence. Hear it. Like, that's creeping me out.
and I don't know what door it is, and I don't want to look.
You don't know which door it is?
No, I don't know which door it is.
Why does that make it worse? But it does.
It does. Okay, maybe it's because we're talking about, demons and shit like that. I don't know. Okay.
Okay, so let's take a quick break for a word from our sponsor, which is me. I just want to give you all a really quick taste of what you get for $1 a month. Strap in, guys. It's an exciting ride. This is Unspoiled, patrons only, covering Sharknado, Jessica Jones, The Room, Luke Cage,
Take my love, take my land, take me where I cannot stand.
Firefly, Star Wars: The Force Awakens, Black Mirror, The Cabin in the Woods, Sherlock, pretty sure you all know that one. I just gave you 10 reasons. 10 reasons! And that's not even all of them. We covered Ghostbusters. We covered The Avengers. We covered Civil War. We're going to be covering all kinds of stuff in the future for Harry Potter, special episodes on the movies, and on Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, and on some of the side story books, and on Cursed Child. There is going to be so much stuff coming up, and it's $1. You guys, for realsies, you should do it. Become a patron. Patreon.com/unspoiled. Okay, we are back. Now back to the show.
So yeah, like, it's very indicative of, like, these guys were already on reservations. Like, what does 39 free Apache mean? Oh, well, it means that they're free. And, like, and it could give an idea to the other guys. Oh, let's just go be free. Like, we don't have to go to the fucking reservation. It's miserable anyway. And so, yeah, like, there's quite a nuance where, like, yeah, Indians did really horrible shit too. And that's not out of the realm of possibility.
Mm-hmm.
But many a time they're not just doing it fucking willy-nilly.
Nope.
And I think, honestly, Ethan's dad, I think, is in the smack middle of where the Chiricahua were.
Okay.
Because that whole land, if it should be Chiricahua, and I think that would be more the incentive, really, not because Ethan is his son, and so, like, honestly, them being his family would kind of be no concern to him. I think it's mostly because he's smack dab in the middle of there.
Okay. So, because they didn't need to, they just wanted the supplies, but you think that it was like a land thing.
I think it might have been because honestly, the reason why they settled in that land was because, after the Indians got moved to the reservations, that land was up for prospect.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, a bunch of historical traditional lands where, like, a lot of nomad people would live, or in nomad meaning they usually have a seasonal train that they follow along,
Mm-hmm.
like that river, for example. They probably would have settled along that river during a time when it was around,
Mm-hmm.
and then they would move on, and then go back around again. And it's a wide expanse of land, and so, like, the idea that, like, oh yeah, this one Apache tribe can say that the whole, New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma border all of that. They
Mm-hmm.
could choose that to treaty for that, and then of course the rest of them that are there will have to deal with that too. But I think it could be. I don't know if maybe they just got cruel enough that they were just like, yeah, let's fuck everyone.
Yeah, it seems like that's kind of what Kaetne is saying, but
And I think he regrets it. I think Kaetne does regret it.
I definitely think he regrets it, but I also think there's a tiny spark of him that's like, yeah, well.
Well, yeah. I think no one likes Ethan's dad. We can all agree. Malcolm doesn't like him. Ethan doesn't like him.
Right.
Kaetne definitely doesn't like him. And it was kind of weird who they chose to play him, which was kind of interesting.
Oh my
God,
I'm super excited about that. We'll get there. First, Kaetne and Malcolm, after, he sort of hints at his own story, he basically is just like, because Malcolm's like, you're going to kill all of them, aren't you? And he's like, oh, fuck yeah. Yeah, of course I am. I will do whatever it takes. What's that?
Do you think this was a date for them?
Oh my God, worst date ever. Were you planning on killing literally anybody who didn't give you exactly what you wanted? Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. 100%. Yep. Okay, cool.
He's down for it. Like, he's not saying no.
He is not.
And Ethan, meanwhile, is getting his palm cut open because he's got the blood with the power. The power of voodoo. What?
Voodoo?
And
You do.
Do what? Okay, we can stop now. We don't need to do the whole thing.
And they're both simultaneously taking care of shit. We have Malcolm and Kaetne who are trying to steal some horses, and one of the dudes who's sort of on lookout over there sees Malcolm. And then on the other side, we have what's-her-face smearing blood on her face and pouring blood into the sand drawing of a snake that she made, and she starts rubbing the blood into the ground and into her face.
Do you think it's ad-libbed what she did? Like, did she just do that?
I don't think so, only because there are a couple repeats of it, and it is real hard to repeat shit when you're ad-libbing nonsense words.
True. Not nonsense words. I mean, like, the whole actions, like rubbing it. Like, she does this kind of a weird cross with her chin and neck with the blood, and then like she rubs it, and then she's just doing the symbols on the ground and rubbing herself into the ground. Like, do you think that was?
I don't know.
I think the words were probably scripted,
I know this is super bitchy to say, but this woman does not strike me as that creative. So I'm going to say no. But that's just me purely like not liking the character and being really fucking petty.
So these rattlesnakes come crawling, which is great. CGI, but great.
It is a really neat idea, honestly. Yeah. Like, I kind of wanted to hate this more than I did because of her, but it was pretty legit.
Yeah.
Especially when the way that they show them moving towards them still under the sand, you just see the sand like bumping. And it's just like,
that's actually really good.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just bumping up and then it's just like wiggling. And unfortunately for Kaetne, he's up in the camp slitting their throats in their sleep, which it is kind of bananas that they don't have better lookouts.
And also, like, they're doing that whole like Indian ninja trope. Like, he knows how to kill very stealthily.
Right, yeah.
But of course Malcolm bulks it up. Or not bulks it up. I don't know what word I was trying to do, but like, he gets caught by that little dude, the young dude.
Now, I was wondering if he was a purposeful like distraction, because it seemed like that one dude was the only one that was like awake. So maybe he was. They were, you know what I mean? Okay,
I get what you mean, and I think, you know what? Honestly, I would not be surprised if that was.
I might be giving them too much credit, but
he did give up his gun kind of a little too easily, because he was just like, "Hey, here's my gun." He turns around from the horse like, "Oh, here's my pistol," and then
there's the amazing moment with Kaetne, and he's looking at the snake, and he's basically like, "Yeah, snake, yeah, What is it? What are you about to do, snake? And then he fucking waits for it to strike. And when it does, he pulls his knife across in one motion, both cutting the snake in half and slitting the guy's neck, which is awesome as fuck, but still does not save him because he winds up getting bitten anyway.
He gets bit.
That was just kind of mean.
By a separate snake, okay?
Yeah.
Not the snake that he cut, but a separate snake was sneakily at the corner.
Sneaky snake.
A
snake,
separate
yeah.
snake was sneakily slithering. I feel like this is like one of those rhymes that you teach a kid to see. She sells seashores by the seashore.
Nope.
Whether
Fucked it
the
up.
weather be
Nope.
kind, whether the weather be not, whether the weather be cold, or whether the weather be hot. You know, whether the weather, whatever the weather, whether you like it or not.
Jesus Christ, you actually did that.
Yeah, that was
actually-
my
Clap.
favorite one when I was growing up. I loved that one.
I could never do that. I can't. I don't know if it's because of English second language, like even homonyms. Is it homonyms what I sound like? Yeah. Like cinnamon,
Yeah.
like shoulder and soldier. Yes. I can't like put them together. I have to like really think about it. Or it just goes like shoulder. Like that just to avoid it. I just mumble it.
I can't do the rubber baby buggy bumper. I can't do that one. Rubber baby buggy bumper. Oh, I actually did do it now that I said that, but that one's hard for me. Bees aren't. I don't know why. B words are hard for me. Sorry.
So like they freak the fuck out, which in a very I did laugh where they're all shooting at the ground at the snakes.
Yeah, that was kind of
It
good.
just seemed really comical to me, and I feel a little horrible about that. But like, was that just me?
No, I mean,
What, that you thought that was funny that they were all shooting at the snakes?
Yeah,
That was funny.
I
They were
think
kinda
like
they kind of were like stomping. Like it was like almost like a old timey ragtime show where they're just like stomping and like.
oh my god, an old timey ragtime show. That's
Yeah.
funny. No, yeah, I mean, like there was something to it that made it look almost like they were, because they're not only shooting at the ground but also kind of dancing in place. So there
Yeah,
was
that's
something
what I'm
about
saying.
it that made it almost look like they were shooting at each other's feet, going dance, dance. But yeah, that was like, you know, you can have a little bit of humor with your murder. It's fine.
Also, do you think Rusk sleeps with his bowler hat because it was in perfect fucking place? Because the marshal and him like hide out in this corner and like shooting with a long rifle at the fleeing Malcolm and Kayentane on horses, and his bowler is in perfect fucking place.
I would love that if that was if it just like, what if his bowler hat is part of his head? What if you can't like
We've
take
seen
it
him
off?
with the bowler. We've seen him without
Listen,
the bowler hat.
Maggie.
haven't we?
We do.
Listen,
We do, because after when he's like, oh, whatever vows I have, because so he's mad that this happened, and the marshal's like, so what the fuck are you gonna do now, basically, and he's like, whatever vows or like virtues I had before, like I disavowed them, and he didn't have the bowler hat. So I think so when he does have the bowler hat, he's a virtuous man, but then when he's taking it off, it's like fuck everything, all bets are off.
So it's
So
like the
his
opposite of
entire
Heisenberg.
conscience
Yes, his entire conscience is in the bowler hat.
is in
That's
the
my
bowler
theory.
hat. He becomes completely amoral without the
Yes.
hat on.
I fucking love that idea. I
bowler hat.
I might make that into a thing where somebody like only has a conscience when they have a particular accessory. And it might be a real douchey accessory. Like, what if it's a fucking visor and they have to be wearing it upside down or else they have no conscience?
I was just gonna say, is it upside down?
It's an upside down visor. Of course
And
it
people are
is.
like, inexplicably, you're less douchey when you wear that. I don't understand it. Yeah, this is the thing that's happening.
No, he legit like, so the scene just came up on my my new computer, the fancy computer that I got,
Oh, I forgot
and he's
you got a new
like,
computer.
and he's like with his gun, and he's like, I'll butcher all of his kind, and he doesn't have the bowler hat. The bowler hat's nowhere to be seen.
Oh,
I think bowler hat theory is a thing.
I like it.
if we see it in the future
sunburned
episodes,
scalp.
then it's fucked. But if I'm gonna be on watch for Bowler Hat.
Okay.
Mark my words.
Sounds on bowler hat watch.
In the future scenes, yes.
Yeah, please make an Excel spreadsheet to track that.
Last scene, minute mark.
And we go next to the scene that I hate the most, which is when the fucking horse dies. It doesn't die. It just passes out from exhaustion and dehydration, and then Ethan has to shoot it in the head. And I hate it. I hate it so much. I understand. I do. But, like, no. I just never want to see this again.
I don't know if they CGI'd some of the horse, because it looks extra wrinkly. And I don't know if maybe he just had a fresh shave or something. But, like, or maybe they were trying to make it look a lot more dehydrated than it was. So I put this as potentially noted as CGI.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I didn't notice that.
I know I'm keeping this as a thing of, like, Dan note CGI moments. But, like, I have a few specific set of notes that I take, and this is what it is.
A second Excel spreadsheet.
It's actually a star bullet point in my notes. CGI.
Oh my God. I just realized, because, like, we had said that we were going to deal with the whole thing with Victor right off the bat so that we didn't have to talk about him anymore. But after the horse dying, there's another scene where he's fucking, like, sniffing Lily's underwear. I don't know that it was her underwear. I think it might have just been, like, a nightgown or something. But I definitely was like, it may as well be underwear because he's such a creep.
Yeah, and he goes back to his place that has littered of fucking, syringes and shit like that.
Mm.
And, like, they're glass fucking syringes too. They're not like the new modern syringes that, like, we do. And he steps on it and breaks it, and I'm like, you fucking idiot! That's like how much goddamn money?
Yeah,
I know
syringes were
like,
not cheap.
No, they weren't, and, like, you can reuse them.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, and as a I don't know if he's been using lately. The in between his fingers doesn't look too great. But I don't know if he's been using lately, but, like, if that was my main source of, like, oh, here's, like, the 3 syringes I have and I better clean them and autoclave them and shit like that, I wouldn't be going fucking stepping on them.
Yeah, because I guess that is probably what they're trying to do, is just be like, oh, he's so unconcerned with his, like, vehicle for ingesting drugs that, look, he even broke one and he doesn't care. But it's a really, like, weirdly kind of dismissive way to talk to, like, reference addiction, because that's not how that fucking works.
Yeah. No, granted, he is kind of getting it in at the asylum. Maybe he could pick up some more syringes or whatever, but, like, I don't know, like, the whole Victor thing, like, it's just not.
Yeah, I think that they're trying to be like, oh, look, he's cleaning up his whole place, he doesn't care about the drugs. They're trying to act like he's getting it together, but there is a fucking come down period. There is a detoxification that has to happen, and we haven't seen that. No. So I just don't buy this, and it's kind of, I feel like the show has been pretty honest in as much as it can be with the, like, fantastical aspects of the show with the effects of something like this. So it kind of surprised me that they were treating him making a comeback in this way. It just feels really like cavalier, I guess. Like, oh, he's just had a couple medical successes and now he understands that life is worth living and he doesn't want his drugs anymore. And I'm like, yeah. I mean, sure, but I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, so next is the Apache story.
Which is fake.
Is it fake?
So the story he's actually telling, the word Apache is actually Spanish. It's not anything. It was kind of in a general term for the air, like, so it encompassed the Navajo, the Chiricahua, the Mansola, the Joplin. So what we consider quote unquote Apache is a bunch of tribes like the Chiricahua and the Jacarilla and other tribes that what we consider the Apache are basically the first groups of Native Americans who kind of interacted a lot with the conquistadors moving northward.
Mm-hmm.
So after they dealt with the Aztecs and Incans and Mayans and shit like that, they went up and maybe went that way. Honestly, there's some stories that they went to the east, but honestly, there's a lot of Spanish people fucking around over there. So a group of conquistadors met, and they called them the Navajos with a B. And the Apaches. Yeah, Navajos, the Apache. And so Apache is actually a Spanish name. Second, the story he's actually kind of talking about with Coyote, with the darkness and stuff, it's actually based off of their ball game. Like, you remember, what was that? El Dorado? That cartoon?
I never saw that.
Oh, Return to, or whatever that was called. Return to El Dorado?
Not the Return to El Dorado.
The movie?
The movie with, what's his face? It was very campy, very gay.
Yeah, that's like the only thing I know about it is that it's very gay from Tumblr.
Yeah.
I've never actually watched it. I've seen clips of it in like a zillion different like YouTube ridiculous supercuts that my kids watch where they like put cartoon clips to pop songs. Yeah. So Evan found one a long time ago that was Livin' La Vida Loca.
Yeah.
A lot of clips from that.
Yeah.
I had to watch it a lot. But I've never seen the actual movie.
If you and the listeners ever want to watch it, it's a really good movie. I actually like it. It does a lot great with like conquistadors and like indigenous people getting a one-up on thing. I kind of actually really like it. But it shows the ball game that many Incans, Mayans, and Aztecs played. And there's a similar game that many of the lower Southwest would play similarly. And so the idea was the coyote and the animals of the night would determine if the world was sinking into darkness by playing that game, basically. In a way it's correct, but the application is just like, it's what a lot of people typically do in narration, where they're like, we kind of like that story, we'll use it as a creation story. But no, that's not their creation story. No.
Yeah, it didn't ring true. Like when he's like, and then he got rid of the darkness and that's how the world was made. And I was like, really? Because that doesn't feel like right at all. So that makes a lot more sense that they took something else and then were just like, yeah, that's how the world was made. Whatever, it's fine.
Because Coyote is more of, so like in terms of like a lot of indigenous beliefs, like if there was a trickster, because there usually is a trickster, and it was very immoral gray rather than an absolute evil. Like there are some things that were indeed absolutely evil, not to be fucked with, and one of them may be in my house right now, and fucking A, that would be really shitty to deal with. Ghostwatch 2017, but Coyote is not an evil force, if anything. When I first saw this, I thought that they were going to talk about werewolves, and I was like, oh, is this going to explain Ethan being a werewolf?
I thought that too, yeah.
Okay, thank you, because I really thought like I was going nuts, because that didn't look like Coyote. That looked like a fucking werewolf.
Yeah, but, I saw that, and I was just like, oh, here it comes. Or I was, and he also said something about like, well, we camped out in here for 2 weeks, and I thought it was going to be like they wrote my story on the wall. Like anything. But apparently not. And, I don't know when he discovered he was a wolf.
Yeah, we still haven't figured that fucking shit out.
He doesn't mention anything about that. Having joined the army, I would think that if you're under constant supervision and once a month you turn into a fucking toothed, fur-covered monster, that somebody's going to notice that. So either he had never turned when he was enlisted and wasn't worried about it, or he was sure he was going to be able to hide it. But that
Or maybe it happened after the whole incident with his dad's house, and then like somewhere between him and going to London it fucking happened. I don't know. I need to fucking put this on a board with like red string and shit like that.
Right.
Because I need to get to the fucking bottom of this, because that's one of my biggest questions so far is how the fuck did Ethan become a werewolf? And I want to know now. I want to know next episode.
I really thought that there might have been a story that Kaetne had like turned him into one as punishment. But because he's
that
called
would be badass.
Well, I don't think that's it though, because he's called Lupus Die. So
That's pretty Christian.
it seems like
but
he was
he
born
kinda
this
talks
way,
about
like
God, though.
that he was given this gift by God and not, it wasn't a punishment, it was an assignment from God. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't feel like that works, but it's the only thing that I could think of.
Do you think like a nice wolf trotted up to him and was like, nibble, nibble? And Ethan was like, oh, hi, friend, and like petted him and
Radioactive
then got a
wolf.
bit. And then like it ran off. Or did he take, so another old fashioned werewolf theory was that if you drank from the footprint of a wolf,
Oh,
you
yeah,
turn
that's
into a wolf?
right.
What if he did that? I don't know because the fucking story isn't telling me, and I really am grasping at straws.
What if he didn't get activated until he was around Vanessa?
Like a sleeper agent?
Yeah, like, because
Oh,
it does
maybe.
seem like he's really disoriented when he wakes up in the, like, outside the docks that one time.
Yeah.
And so maybe it's like not until he is near the person that he's supposed to be guarding that he's like all of a sudden turns all wolfy and he doesn't even know what's going on.
Man, and then he has to like go to the library and try and figure it out. Because we know he goes to the library because he went and picked those books up before.
And I
when he
had
met
really
Hector.
thought that that was like the reason that he was hiding out. But it apparently he had plenty of reasons to be hiding out in London beyond being a wolf.
I also note Maggie's being so fucking quiet right now.
I'm
Yeah.
not saying shit.
Because she knows the answer, and she's not telling either of
Not
us.
saying shit.
Fucking.
Man, what do you want me to do? It's the Unspoiled
I don't
podcast.
know.
I'm the spoiled one. I'm glad there are the two of you here so you guys can, hash stuff out and it's not just Natasha being like, oh, I know which one's right because Maggie got real quiet when I said it. So
That's
I'm
true.
just going to be completely silent through all of it because you guys have
Exactly.
thrown out a whole bunch of ideas so I can sit here and be like,
We're throwing a lot of spaghetti. And I don't even know and at this rate, I don't even know if half the shit sounds insane, but the thing is, what this show has done, literally
show
anything
is
can come
insane.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, the show is insane. So like any literally thing that I'm saying could be real. And it's mildly frustrating. Because it's the one thing I want. Because Ethan, my precious baby boy Ethan, you're fucking doing some stupid shit and I don't like it.
Yeah.
Because they fucking bone and he's kind of like, so she's like,
And
when
he
you go,
literally
you know, to
says,
college- yeah,
I'm done trying to be good. And I was like, really?
Yeah.
That's the way that you're declaring that you're like for evil is just, I'm done trying to be good. That's what you say when you eat a brownie and you're on a diet. Like, that's not a big declaration of evil. That's lame.
Was his eyes turning black when she was doing that whole witchy shit earlier with the snakes and shit, or was it just because he was squinting because he was doing his little squint shit that he always does?
I think
I
it's
didn't
just
know-
squinting because I didn't notice that. And I
Because
feel
his
like
eyes just look super dark, and I was just like, oh, no, Ethan.
yeah, no, unless it's like because she used his blood, so it could have been that she was
Yeah.
pulling power from him, but I didn't notice that.
So these stupid idiots are getting trapped in the fucking desert. Which, it would have been convenient if maybe he had his werewolf powers or strength or whatever. I don't know why dehydration suddenly really fucks him up, but I guess for all mammals it really does.
Yeah, I guess that's
so that-
not an exception.
Yeah. But
I
they
mean,
did
if
really
he got
good work.
shot, do you think he'd just die the normal way?
Nah, I think you could get a good 2 bullets into Ethan.
And
I
he'd
think
still be
so.
fine?
He'd be fine. I mean, like, he's not fucking Wolverine or some shit. He's not pulling some Logan-esque shit. But, like, I don't think a through and through, I think he'd still be fine. As long as not in his, like, torso area. I don't know. I think, okay. Ethan in this state, maybe not. But didn't he get shot at the fucking saloon thing?
Did he?
It, I don't know.
Because if he did, I feel like that would have been part of the evidence that Rusk brought up when
Yeah.
he talked to him, and he doesn't say anything about it.
Okay. Because, like, if he's in Wolfie mode, I think he'd be fucking, I don't know. I think he could probably get a few good shots out. But I think regular Ethan, maybe just 2. And
Yeah,
that's,
I'm really curious about this, the way this whole thing, like, we just have so little
They don't
information
explain
about
a
this.
lot.
Yeah.
They don't. I want to know the rules of being the werewolf in here. I want to know how do you become a werewolf. I want to know I want to know a situation about his penis.
Well, that's just
and
like
yeah.
true anyway.
Yeah,
But-
that's just true anyway. That's just because me and the D. But
Oh my
They
God.
did a
I meant
really-
to take a picture. I was poke hunting the other day and I came across a sign that just said D Street. And I meant to take a photo of it and send it to you, and I totally
me
forgot.
specifically,
Yeah, you specifically. I was just like, oh my God, damn it, crack up.
I would crack up with that.
I'll be there again because it's really good
Do it.
spawn point. So I'll take a picture of it.
Oh yeah. what spawns there? Diglets?
Oh, that would have been pretty good. It's in a cemetery, like it's right by a cemetery, which somehow just seems like kind of rude.
That is a little rude.
Right? But yeah, so there's all kinds of stuff there because cemeteries are like loaded.
Oh yeah.
I'm not supposed to do it, but I totally do it. Sorry.
I also like the effects of showing them how dehydrated they were. It was really good.
Oh my
They look
God,
so
their
chapped.
lips. Ugh. I know that that's like a really easy makeup effect to do, chapped lips, but it's still so
Yeah.
effective. Like, ew, 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 ew. It grosses me out
Just-
so bad.
One time I wanted to fake sick, so I wrote a bunch of salt on my lips, and I looked so fucking dehydrated that my nurse sent me home.
That's amazing. That's a
Yeah.
good tip.
Smart.
Yeah.
It's fucking smart. Yeah, just rub a bunch of like sea salt, especially like I had to open up the grinder and everything, and I just sat there and I brought it to school with me and I just rub, and like, and kind of just was like a,
Right.
and I got sent home.
Just kind
said I had
of
to
like
stop.
cough weakly. Oh no, I'm fine. Really, please continue. I couldn't bear to miss a day.
Exactly. And so yeah, I got sent home that way. I was pretty fucking slick when I was in high
Yeah,
school.
that is pretty slick. I never tried. Like, I only tried to fake sick one time, and it like worked in that my mom let me stay home, but she fucking totally knew, and I felt too guilty knowing that she knew to try it again. I just felt
I used to be able to think myself into a fever.
what
That like, no, I swear to God, I would sit there and just like think really, really hard and making my like the temperature go up, and so by the time they touched me, they're like, "Oh, you're really warm." I'm like, fuck yeah, I am.
So you
and
were
I
like
swear to
mind
God-
over matter, like monk type.
Yeah, it used to be some sick shit that I used to pull.
That's messed up.
Just to like, especially if I knew I felt like I was gonna throw up, I could make myself like think, okay, go throw up, and I would get super hot, and that would like set up like, oh, the fever thing, and then
Huh.
eventually, sometimes I might trick myself into actually throwing up, which
Whoops.
sucks, because like throwing up sucks. But hey, add more evidence to get sent home.
Yeah, true. I guess you may as well like get sick in all the ways if you can.
Yeah. And yeah, so, kids, don't do this at home. Kids listening to this, I just realized I have to pay morally. If you need
What's
to
up,
skip
you
school,
cool babies?
yeah, what's up, you cool babies? Just don't fucking skip. Don't fucking try and fake sick. Instead, just skip class. So just do that.
It's way
Yeah, no.
less effort. Just
Yeah, way less effort. You can like get cool points or whatever. Not like that's the thing. Like, what sounds cooler? I like thought so hard I made myself think I was gonna throw up so I can get a fever and get sent home, or no, I skipped school and went to the fucking mall. Like, what sounds cooler?
I remember finding out that people in my school just skipped, and I was just floored by it. I was just like, you just wait, you just don't go?
Don't go.
How do you just
Where do you
not
go?
What do you mean you just don't go? Like, I couldn't understand it. I figured if I didn't show up to class, my mother was getting a fucking phone call from the teacher being like, your daughter wasn't there. But apparently that's not how that works unless they miss a bunch of times. So, yeah, I had no idea that was even a thing that you could do. I did not have the imagination. I'm too much of a rule follower, man.
Speaking of faking sick, do you think this bitch was faking? Because she looks awfully okay.
Honestly,
When-
I don't buy anything she fucking does.
No, I think everything she does is bullshit.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Because,
I
like-
just don't want to look at her face anymore. I don't understand why she's still here.
When she's with
Couldn't
Ethan,
she
'cause
die?
Ethan's-
Why couldn't she die in the desert? She's
I
so close.
really hoped
Just leave
that
her
she
there.
was gonna. I was
No,
hoping
I
that
don't-
that was gonna be the end of her when Malcolm rolls up. That he wasn't even gonna like give a pause. That he was just gonna fucking blow her head off in
Shoot
Ethan's
her.
arms. That would have been
Well-
hilarious.
Well, her head's on fucking Ethan's lap, and you don't want to fucking shoot his D.
That's
I mean,
That's his son. Like, um, but like, I think she was faking. Like, do you think, like, okay, because she even says like, "Thank you for saving my life." So she was conscious. Like, she heard all that. Really? I wonder why. Because maybe you were fucking faking it to begin with, and like, because she looks super cool. Like when she's sitting next to Ethan, and Ethan still looks a little cut up because when his daddy was doing that weird like, here's a little bit of water, son. I still love you, son, and all that shit. He's like really still like kind of chappy lipped a little bit. Like he needs a little bit of Vaseline on that shit.
he's definitely
But-
like they're putting water on his lips because they're so bad.
and so like, and she's there looking like fucking grand as can be in a new dress.
Yeah, that's one of those questions that I always have. I'm like, is it that she's fine, or is it that Hollywood just cannot bear to make her look ugly?
I don't know.
Because
this show does not have a problem with making
No.
female characters look ugly. Maybe she
No.
just won't.
Maybe.
But like Vanessa's
Maybe
been
she-
pretty darn ugly.
maybe as a
I-
witch, she doesn't have that happen to her the same way.
Yeah, maybe.
I still feel that maybe she was kind of faking it. And if Ethan kind of even hesitated, I think she would have just popped out and like got Malcolm. But then those fucks kind of rolled up. So Mr. Talbot's man, I don't know what Ethan's dad's first name is. I forgot.
Mister.
I don't even.
Yeah,
Mr.
right.
Okay. Mr. Talbot. His crew, his posse comes rolling up. I first thought it was fucking Rusk and them, and I thought like, how the fuck did they get a posse rounded up so quick in the middle of the desert? And then it was like, oh, it's his daddy shit. So, fucking this girl. I think she was faking it. That's my firm belief. And
That's fair.
Because Ethan is a werewolf, and if he's so awesome and has so much power, according to her, like how the fuck is he so toed up?
Yeah, I mean, like it could definitely be part of her just trying to manipulate him. I'm fine with that idea.
Yeah.
And I love too when she wakes up that she's surrounded by dolls. She's just
Yeah.
like kind of, oh shit, my mom, what's up?
And his house is really pretty. It's a white adobe
Mm-hmm.
and all that shit. And do you want to talk about Ethan's dad? These
Yeah.
actors.
What is
Yeah.
this actor's name again?
I can quickly Google that if you want.
If you wouldn't mind, that would be delightful.
I do not mind. Let me do that while you talk.
Because, yeah, this guy, every time he shows up in fucking anything, I'm always just like, what's up? I love him. And he always plays this kind of fucking guy. Somebody who is just a little bit shady, who's got definite anger problems, who is in charge or is used to being in charge. And, yeah, I was really excited to see him here. Great casting. And one of the only, like, actors that comes to mind that I feel like could stand up against the force of Malcolm's personality,
Yeah.
charisma, gaze, whatever, what have you.
So his name is Brian Cox, and
That's
he's
the
playing Jared Talbot.
Jared, that's right.
Do you think Ethan's older brother was named Jared Talbot Jr.? Possibly.
Maybe?
Certainly
Maybe.
possible.
Also, did you know that Rusk's first name is Bartholomew?
Bartholomew
Yes.
Rusk.
Yeah, we did. We talked about that a few episodes
Yes.
You did? Okay.
Because
like,
I
for
remember
some
just
reason-
being like, oh, that's awesome.
Because for some reason it's really hitting me right now, and I'm just like, Bartholomew.
That is a great name. I love that name. That's a great cat name because it ends with Mew. Somebody
Mew,
name your
yeah.
cat Bartholomew, please.
Bartholomew. So yeah, it's fucking Ethan Talbot and Jared Talbot.
And he is
Okay.
like trying to basically Malcolm comes in trying to like run shit the way that he is used to running shit. And Jared's just like, I don't think that's how this is going to go, buddy.
I'm going to run this conversation, and you're going to sit there and you're going to answer my questions the way that I ask them, and that's how it's going to be. And he wants to know why Ethan was living in his mansion. And I wasn't sure initially when he asked the question if it was like him being worried about there being a relationship between the two of them. Because I really kind of thought that he might think that his son was a kept boy for a minute.
Was being a little bit on the gay.
Right? Like, you know, he has nowhere to go. He finds a generous older gay man who's like, yeah, go ahead, move in with me. Like, I could see that working out.
I could see him being worried about that, yeah. So he tries to do the sick burn on Malcolm, which seems super petty. Because, like, let me see if I can get to the actual conversation. Because, like, I know I took notes on it. Like, I specifically wrote down, Mr. Talbot, fuck nugget, tries to shit on Malcolm, true dad, and I put in parentheses true dad.
Did you really write fuck nugget?
I did write fuck nugget.
That's funny.
I paused because I didn't know if I should say it out loud. but yeah, he basically is like, well, I still have a kid that's alive.
Yeah, that was some shit. We're very alike. Not really, because I still have a child left. I was like, oh, ouch.
Yeah. And that's so
Cheap
fucking
shot.
Right?
And him being like, oh, it's like looking in the mirror. No, it's not. Because, like, you are nothing like Malcolm. And nor is Malcolm anything like you, and that's great. And there's some similarity a little bit in that, you know, they've had some tragedy, great, and they're connected to Ethan, but, like...
Their similarities are that they're both, like, alpha types with explorer hearts and, you know, some low-key racism, and they exploit people.
And guess what? That's 90% of white guys.
Right.
Like,
especially white guys with money. Like, they have the ability to carry out these, you know, passions that they have.
And you know what's interesting? Now that you actually, like, mentioned it, I bet he was concerned because, like, he's super fucking religious. Like, he quotes the whole Cain and Abel line.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Cain and Abel where, like, they're super excited that their son has been found, or came back, and so, like, specifically the dude says, like, you know, bring the fattened calf or whatever like that.
Mm-hmm.
He's super fucking religious, this dude. So, like, I think he's done some research because he mentions Africa to Malcolm.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I think you're right that he might have thought that, like, Ethan was, like, probably sucking this dude off.
Right, because it didn't make sense to me that he would know that much about him unless... I don't know.
No,
I guess he could
research.
just want to find out anyway, but
yeah,
there just was a sort of undertone to the way he asked the question that felt really aggressive in a particular way.
Because on paper, like, his wife is living in a separate part of the country, you know, and he's living in this, like, basically it was like a second home, I think, if I remember correctly. Like, yeah, because their main home was the one in the country next to Vanessa's family home, and so this is a second home, and, like, he's been living there for a year with Ethan. Kind of on paper that sounds pretty
that's
gay.
what I'm saying, you know. Like, yeah, I don't know, I really thought that was what he was getting at, and I think that it's quickly apparent that you know, because there is a way that I think Malcolm could have answered that would have kept the question open in a way. But in the way that Malcolm answers it is very straightforward, and I think puts him at ease with that quickly. But yeah, this whole, like, interaction between the two of them is really great to watch because there are few actors that have this kind of, like, vibe that they are so similar, and that the script isn't just saying, hey, they're really alike, but that they really seem actor-wise to be very alike.
Yeah.
And I love, too, that there's this moment where he's like, hey, what were you doing riding with that fucking filth? And you want to be like, oh, what a racist D-bag. And he probably is. But then you find out some shit, and you're like, well, maybe he's filth. Maybe he wasn't wrong. which then I felt very bad about.
I think there was an undertone of racism only because he mentions like, well, when you were in Africa, you know, what were they? And then he was kind of like, fuck. Because I think, because not Ethan. Fucking Malcolm's probably fought in the war in Africa or whatever.
Malcolm probably
he's
did
part of that
God
club.
knows what. Like, I bet Malcolm did all kinds of horrific shit while he was over there. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even want to think about it.
Sort of, for him to throw it back at him was kind of like, burn.
Right.
But again, that was really unnecessary to talk about how he still has one child left to save. Because fuck you, Mr. Talbot. Mr. Jared Talbot Sr. But it was kind of like a squint off in a way. But then
that's true.
A little bit. It was a daddy squint off.
There's a bit of a daddy squint off. Yes, I can see that.
Daddy squint off sounds like this amazing like cartoon character.
Daddy squint off.
Welcome, Daddy
Daddy
Squint
Warbucks.
I love it.
Daddy squint off.
And she fucking goes and sees Ethan. You know what needs to be done. And he says, you don't need to remind me. It's a long time coming and I intend to enjoy it. And I'm just like, oh, Ethan, what? I don't like, all right, I'm just going to say it. I don't buy it. I think Ethan is fucking lying to her. I think that he is smart enough to know that the only way to get her to let her guard down is to let her think that he is on her side. I think that there is a difference between I'm not trying to be good anymore and I'm going to kill the father that I betrayed. Because he's acting like, I don't know, there's this resentment there, and his father, when he sees him, is like, I know that you hate me, I don't blame you for it. I've given you cause, and the only thing that I know about that is that he sent him away to the army. That's all I know. So I don't have a good reason for why Ethan would want him dead so badly.
Honestly, with him being that fucking religious, god damn, I would probably be sick and tired of him too.
But being sick and tired of somebody and hating them, those are very different. Hating somebody to the point that you want to murder them and that they seem aware that you want to murder them, there's something else there.
Yeah.
You know?
I hope we learn it, but it was kind of funny because we had a daddy squint off, now we have a father-son squint off.
Mm-hmm.
And that was pretty fun. But Ethan was doing most of the squinting. I don't know if he is faking. I think he wants. I do think he legitimately wants to murder his father, for reasons that may be valid. I have no idea. So far, I'm not a fan of the dude, but that's just me. But like, I do think that maybe Ethan is being tempted to the dark side, and I hate to say it because my poor precious Ethan. No, don't go there. That's a bad place. What is it that Mufasa says to Simba?
Oh, I don't remember that movie. I saw it once and never again.
About
the shadow.
Yeah, the Shadowlands or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Like we do not go there or some shit like that. I don't know. But like, you do not cross over to there or some shit like that. I don't know. I want to shake Ethan a little bit. I think he fully intended to do it, but I think he's not really getting the gumption. I don't know. Because again, it's fucking Ethan. Like he doesn't go mercilessly willy-nilly killy.
Willy-nilly killy.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I like that.
You like that?
Willy-nilly killy.
I come up with a lot of good phrases. That's one thing I'm really good for.
Oh,
is
funny.
like I can come in with some humdingers and like shit like that. That would be good on a shirt.
Humdinger in and of itself is also good. That's also
That's
quality. Humdinger.
I know. I talk like a fucking 20s. What's it call it? I don't know. But isn't that from the 20s? I don't know. But I think Ethan is not really getting the gumption to. I think he wants to be bad, but he really fucking deep down can't.
I don't buy it. I think that he is angry at his dad, and I think that there is a part of him that wouldn't mind, but I think that he is in control of that and is just exploiting that feeling temporarily in order to be convincing with his lie. I think I don't think he's really, I don't know. The only thing that makes me go, well, maybe is that he protected her from getting shot. Because I don't see if he is lying to her what the point is of keeping her alive.
That's one thing. That's one thing that I'm like,
yeah.
why the fuck does he want to keep her alive? God damn it, Ethan. And poor Ethan's face. So like, we behold, there's a secret area, which is a church in his fucking house.
Yeah, he has a
which
little
again,
chapel.
Again, like, I'm saying he's kind of cuckoo.
No, this was a common thing. Like when people had these big compounds, they had very small little churches that they would, and especially because he's got like all of these soldiers that live on the, he mentions about how 10 of his men were killed in an instant. How many men do you have to have that you had 10 stationed? How many others are there? So it's like a small town.
Speaking of which, it's like a small town where there's no women, just dudes and his dad.
As far as we can see, we only see inside like 3 rooms.
True, but it's getting pretty gay again. like if I was a dude, like that's the thing. How much money am I fucking getting a week? Okay, and I have to deal with like a bunch of dudes, and this dude who has the church that he has is fucking bloodied up from a battle that's happened how many years ago?
That's what I want to know is exactly how much time has passed, because I'm really unclear on that.
Well, we know a year, so like we can assume it was before the year that he was living with Malcolm.
And he's been living with him for a year?
Yeah, because that's what J.R. Talbot said to Malcolm, like, why was he living with you for a year? Okay. So I guess the space of time between 1 and 2 was a year. So like something before then, and honestly maybe a few months, because he's been known as that show person, that as Wiley Talbot. I don't know what the fuck. Oh no, Wiley Ethan Chandler.
Talbot.
Yeah. Wiley Ethan Chandler. That little roadshow thing. So he probably was there for a few months. So like, I don't know, but like it's been a year at most. I mean, at minimum. So like, if I'm getting paid, how much money am I getting paid a fucking week to deal with that shit? There's right. Well, okay, pretend I'm a straight dude, okay? So I'm a straight dude living there. It's the middle of fucking desert, and I have at least a water source or whatever the fuck. But there's this crazy dude who has a chapel that's built, boarded up because there was a fucking battle that he had years ago, or whatever. He's talking crazy shit about his son, and like I have to go find his son, and like have to go hire Pinkerton guys or whatever. Like how much? Like I'm gonna need a significant sum of money to deal with that a week.
I mean, the thing is, though, I don't know exactly where they're situated, really, but it looked from the map like there's not a lot around.
No, it isn't.
Like, there's no options, really. It's kind of like people staying in a shitty small town at a bullshit dead-end job because there is nothing else to be done unless you move away, and most people don't have that kind of money.
Because Ethan said it was a 3 days ride all around to get to his dad's place.
Yeah, so I could imagine that, you just wind up staying because that's what you do. People are astonishingly bad at making changes in their lives.
I guess so. Yeah,
I never cease to be shocked at what people will put up with simply because they are used to putting up with it.
So the boarded up church. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So this is a fucking brutal story. It turns out that his mother, brother, and little sister were all killed here. As far as the sister, does she die? Because we just hear that she gets horribly maimed.
Maimed, and they don't say anything about her dying. Don't they say she like wanders off?
He says that he left her this way to wander in this place of death. That's what your Apache said. So that's what I'm like.
She's gonna die because she got caught in the tongue.
I'm gonna go ahead and say she's still alive somewhere, and we're gonna see her. Yeah.
Shit.
There's no reason that they wouldn't say that she died unless she's gonna show up. That's my guess, but
okay, so I am assuming she's dead only because the idea of her wandering the afterlife blind is very cruel. It wouldn't be so cruel to make her blind and alive. I mean, in the okay, in like, the best way to fuck someone up is to fuck with them after death, because that's really bad. Like, or like in the adverse, they they stuck awls, which is the giant sewing needles to sew through leather. They stuck those in General Custer's ears so he could hear better in the afterlife.
What?
Yeah, because he never listened to the whole treaties and everything like that, and like in negotiations. So they thought he was a very stubborn man who did not listen. So when he was killed, they stuffed sewing awls in his ears so he could hear better.
That's messed up.
Yeah, it's fucked up, isn't it? Like, but in a way, you should be able to hear better in the afterlife, and hopefully you fucking don't fuck up again that you did in life. But this is the adverse, of course. They wanted her to be fucked in the afterlife.
I see. I don't think that's it at all. I think it was, we want to punish you by leaving you with a child that can never like fully live her life, because she will be a child forever now.
If we do see her, that's gonna break Ethan's heart.
Yeah,
it's gonna break poor little Ethan's heart, because I bet you, even though he was the middle child, he probably hated Jared Talbot Jr. Again, I'm going that if it was my firstborn son and this fucking dude is my father, most likely my name's gonna be fucking Jared Talbot Jr. So I probably give no fucks to him if I was Ethan. But my precious little baby sister, that is probably gonna fuck me up.
Yeah, I think that this might be, I don't know. I think this is gonna come up. But yeah, so what happens is that the dudes who were raiding the place with Ethan knew exactly where to go, knew exactly where to hit. They killed a bunch of his guards, no problem, right away. And then they bust into the chapel while they are saying the Lord's Prayer, and they kill his brother by sticking him with their spears so many times that he became unrecognizable, his father says. Just a bloodied lump of meat. They kill his mother, and forgive me because I don't remember the details. They scalp her. I was like, I know there was something terrible.
Thank God that she wasn't alive to see what's next. Yeah.
And then he gets his arms pinned behind his back, and they hold his eyes open and make him watch while they slit her tongue in half and then gouge out her eyes.
So she kind of looks like a snake, which ironic because the snake's earlier.
I guess. I'm not sure.
I just realized it now. Well, in a half, I'm thinking long ways, not.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean, but I don't feel like that connection with the snakes earlier is.
No, I know, but it was just, I just visually, because when you said that she might be alive, and I was like, well, if they cut her tongue in half the other way, she probably would not be alive because that's a major artery. Right. But if she was cut the other way, because I've seen that before.
Yeah, I guess that's why they cut tongues out with hot pinchers, because that keeps you from bleeding out.
It cauterizes it. Yep.
It's messed up.
It's fucked up, but it kind of looks a little cool.
Oh, God. No.
I've seen people do that on purpose, yeah.
No, yeah, I know some people in real life who's done that, and they wiggle it separately. They get that masterful, because like before they couldn't, and you have to practice to do it, and then they can do it. And
I hate it so much. I hate it.
So they gouge her eyes out, and we're assuming Kayatane did this because he specifically says you're Apache.
Yeah,
no, I don't know. Think so. I don't know if he's meaning general Apache. Again, this is what's problematic with some of these words. Is like Apache means general.
No, I think because what he says, that's what your Apache said. It sounds like he's talking about a singular person,
specifically Kayatane.
Mm-hmm.
And who strangely not here yet? Like, is he still recovering from his wounds?
I think that he was almost dead.
Yeah, they left him out there in the desert.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Okay. Because he was looking pretty pale.
Yeah,
he falls off his horse, and Ethan's just like, fuck him.
Let him fry, I think is what he says. Something like that.
So he's probably out in the desert.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it. I hope that's not the end of him. I'm secretly hoping, because like that'd be one horrible way for him, like a main character, to get cut.
Yeah, there's no way. Like, because I'm firmly of
It's still unresolved issues.
I'm firmly of the camp. Unless you see their body on screen, they aren't dead. And even if you do see their body on screen, you have to see the wound, or else they still might not be dead. Like, just TV shows just fuck with you so much. Right? Yeah, exactly. Like, even shit like in Sherlock, there's a character who blows their brains out, and there is still some like, well, what if they're actually still alive? Because, you know, we've just gotten so messed up because of TV constantly pulling these fakers on us that we get paranoid even when somebody has a giant hole in their fucking skull. I'm not bitter. I'm a little bitter. I don't like it. It's too common a thing. But
and this again, maybe he was crazy because this happened, but I think he was kind of crazy beforehand or whatever. But he's now telling Ethan that he better like repent, and Ethan's like, I got nothing to repent for. I don't give a fuck. And it kind of seems like he wants his dad to shoot him and kill him instead.
Honestly, that was the vibe I was getting, was that either he wants his dad to shoot him, or he wants to make it sound like they're having a fight so that he can cover up the fact that he's about to be like, okay, low-key, there's a witch upstairs. And I don't really know how that would work. What?
His sad eyes, Josh Hartnett's eyes. I just looked over at them, and it's just like...
Yeah, he is so pretty. It's just wrong.
He acts really good. Like, when he acts sad, or like, he's like... I think he's like almost beyond sad. He's just angry. Like... He acts it really well.
Yeah. That's a big thread throughout this whole show, is how angry everybody is.
Yeah.
Which I guess is just a big thread throughout everyone's lives, probably, in general, in the universe. Is that we're all angry always, all the time?
It's the angry season. It's the season where we have to really yell at Ethan right now, because, again, fucking, I just hope his true dads can... Or true dad, I don't know. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of secretly in your camp, too, Natasha, that, like, I think Kaintana is alive. I don't know. Maybe he did some like something. They're probably gonna be like, I took some milk thistle or some shit like that, and like did some magic, and that's how I'm okay. But I want his true dads to come in, save the day, get rid of the witch. Ethan becomes good, and then they go back and save Vanessa or whatever. I want a big happy family all together again.
I'm just really like, well, first of all, this is a Vanessa free episode, which does not happen that often. Mm-hmm. So I'm really mostly like, Ethan, deal with your shit. I want to know what's going on with Vanessa. And when Ethan is around, I'm mostly like, Ethan, fucking get rid of Hecate, because she's just such a drag, dude. Seriously. You could have had Vanessa. What is wrong with you? I guess it's just really, really tempting to have somebody whisper, yeah, you're fine. You don't need to change. In fact, lean into all of your shitty habits. Go ahead,
That's what she wants to do, is lean into it, yeah.
That's like a guy like trying to encourage me to eat more pizza. Like, I don't know how I resist that. Do I? Probably not. Probably not. That's probably why I gained a bunch of weight after I moved down to Texas, because Owen was very, very pro pizza.
TBH, I'm also very pro pizza. Like, who is anti pizza?
I don't like these people who are anti-pizza.
Yeah,
boo anti-pizza people.
That's the only way to keep somebody from getting elected in this country. They can beat up reporters and grab pussies, but if you say they don't like pizza, the end.
Nobody's voting for that shit.
Yep.
Yeah, Maggie.
Yeah.
I want you to look at me, and by look at me, I mean like stare at the camera part of your computer.
Look at me. Look at me.
Because just so for listeners to know, we don't play video when we do this. Hi. But okay, hi. How mad am I going to be next episode? Because I'm not going to watch until next week.
I'm not saying shit about what's happening next episode. Are you kidding?
I'm not saying
I've barely been able to say anything this entire time about anything
I
because
know.
you
and I
guys
feel
are just like
partially bad about
speculate,
that.
speculate, speculate, and I'm just like, So no,
I mean, not tell me anything, but I'm just gonna. Am I gonna be mad?
You're always gonna be mad about something, Dan.
I am.
No, what you're trying to get me to say is something very specific about your feelings about certain characters.
Yes.
That I'm not gonna say.
Is Ethan gonna be my precious boy still?
I'm not gonna say.
God damn it.
That's the whole point of the show. I'm not gonna say.
It's my Ethan.
No, boo. No, go watch it.
Okay.
You want to find out? We're
I'm
almost
saying
done.
hi to new patrons now. All right, new patrons. We have this week Vanessa Marino, Ariel Elena Feek, Emily Daniels, sorry, no S, Sarah Sanders, Simone Solar, Andrew Nguyen. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm sorry, Andrew.
It's when.
There you go.
Nguyen?
When.
Nguyen?
When. Just when.
Just when?
Yep.
Okay. Andrew Wen. I would never have gotten that, so thank you. And Amy Lucas. Welcome to all of you delightful people.
I dated a Vietnamese guy. So that's...
Oh, it's a
that's
Vietnamese
why.
name?
Yeah, it's a Vietnamese name.
Right.
And his name was also Nguyen.
Nguyen.
Hmm?
Yeah, so welcome you guys, and make sure to register on unspoiledpodcast.com to get access to the patrons-only episodes. And if you're $5 and above, you'll get immediate access to Twin Peaks, which I'm doing right now with Maggie. And if you are $4 and below, or if you're any amount, you will get access to Sherlock, which I just recorded a new Sherlock episode with Rashawn on Saturday, and we will be posting that this week. It is the Abominable Bride episode, and I had feelings about it. And that's all I'll say about that.
Like, just so you know, content warning, feelings ahead.
Feelings and crankiness.
Oh, is that why Rashawn shared that thing where the dude was like, oh, when you're in your feelings, but then you remember who you are?
No, that was just an in general thing, because I think
that's
we
just
both
life.
do that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because it really spoke to me at that moment, and I did share it. Because, like, I've been in my feelings all this week, and then I'm like, I'm fucking Dan. Who gives a shit?
Fuck y'all. Yeah, you need those moments sometimes. And I'm just like, this... have you guys seen the 4th season of Sherlock?
No.
Yeah.
I think my husband played it in the background. I'd never been into Sherlock, so I'm pretty sure he watched it.
I only watched The Abominable Bride, and that was it.
So, The Abominable Bride aside, because I don't know what that was that they were trying to do with that. The 4th season is the most bananas thing, and I'm just really curious to see what Rashawn thinks about it, because I only just watched it last week, and it's a rare moment for me to not have a strong opinion on something, where I genuinely can't say if I liked it or not. I really, truly am not sure. I can't decide if it was like the dumbest, stupidest tire fire of nonsense, or if it was kind of brilliant.
That's what everyone's been saying. Like, it's either that or that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have not seen a quite in the middle of like,
Yeah, I can't decide. So I'm gonna rewatch. But yeah, those of you who are patrons, you will be able to hear my thoughts developing on that and see what Rashawn thinks of it, because she reacted in a very positive way to season 3, which I thought season 3 was dialed to 11, and then season 4 came up and dialed it to like 16. So I'm like, is she going to like it because she liked the way the 3rd season was kind of crazy and they really leaned on that more? Or is she going to hate it because they went too far? So anyway, that's my plug for the patron stuff. And yeah, I think that was all I wanted to mention this time around. Anything that you guys want to plug?
You want to plug first, Maggie?
I think Owen and I are going to do something Wonder Woman-y, right? Are you doing that with us, Natasha?
Yes, ma'am.
This weekend. So, but I don't know the details on it yet, but stay tuned. you may get to see us talk about Wonder Woman in some shape or form. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm considering offering Wonder Woman as a motivational like download to people who are on the fence as to whether they want to sign up for my Unspoiled newsletter. Like making it a thing for everybody, but special because you have to do a thing to get it, and then I get a thing for it. I like to hold people hostage a little bit for content. What can I say?
I was just gonna say, isn't that like blackmail in a way?
Oh, tiny bit,
like,
tiny bit.
Like, you only get this thing if you give me the thing.
Yep, I'm fine with it. That's how I live my life. It's always dealing, wheeling and dealing. Only one wheel.
And so I might be starting some new projects soon. I'm going to hammer out some of the details. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be probably some gay shit. So just FYI on that. It'll be pretty fun. And if I get some details, mostly next week, you'll probably hear from me giving a little plug. So just be on the lookout for that.
Nice.
Sheldon's looking at me like, Papa, we have to go for a walkie because we didn't do a walkie, so I have to do a late night walkie with my boy Sheldon. And is that right?
I need
Sheldon?
to go do late night Twin Peaksy because we're recording early tomorrow.
Yeah, same.
Ooh. Yeah,
same.
And then I'm gonna pass out.
All right,
That's
guys.
the rest of my night. Just so everybody knows, Twin Peaks, unconsciousness. Just updating everybody.
All right. Well, thank you everybody so much for listening. Hope you enjoyed the episode, and we will see you next week with a new episode. Toodaloo, motherfuckers.
That was an Unspoiled Network podcast.